can't talk if I cry. Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I actually am okay.
Why are you crying? Is it
I
happiness?
can't. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well, it's a lot of things. I can't tell you
it's okay. It's okay.
how
Gosh,
glad
I
I
love
am.
you. I love you so much, Christy. I really
Thank
do. You're
you.
a wonderful person. You're so much heart.
I've worked on it.
Oh, I
Worked
can
on
tell. I can tell. You are not the same person I met the
it.
first time around. So take your time. We got time. Tell me what it is you are up to. Gosh, you look good.
Oh, geez. I appreciate you saying that. I feel like I'm 20 years older.
I would have said the opposite.
Oh, bless your heart. You get points and brownies for that.
Not from your Swedish cook, I hope.
Oh, maybe.
Is he still
Is
there?
he? Oh, yeah. He's the one that's doing all the cooking right now. I had which is why I haven't been in a while, and you haven't been either, so that's been fine. Um, an incident on December 2nd, and my lungs collapsed.
Oh dear.
Yeah, both of them at the same time, I'm guessing. I don't know. And of course, my heart stopped. And he was kind enough to call services. So
You're lucky then, because
I'm telling you, we are right. Choices. I
Mhm.
was like, wow. I mean, we every day he tells me how glad he is I'm still here, and I tell him how glad I am he kept me because it was
Oh, wonderful.
literally up to him at that point, and it wasn't even a choice. He was. I mean, everybody was just in shock, I think, but I was dead for 10 to 15 minutes by the accounts that I can measure, and
What was the cause? What happened? Why? Why did this happen?
nobody knows. I was hoping you could tell me.
Okay, well, yeah, we can delve into that.
Nobody. The doctors want to tell me it was allergy based,
Hmm.
that I had no symptoms. I didn't even know. Like, I mean, the only way I can word it is I did not see this coming. I've been an asthmatic my whole life, and when you're not breathing well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I guess I knew I was struggling to some extent, but not to the extent that I thought it would lead to that. And he says, I actually remember wandering into the bedroom at one point and grabbing his feet. It was like 5 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning, something like that, and shaking his feet and telling him I needed help, to grab another thing of medicine to put in my inhaler thingy. And he said he knew at that point I was in more trouble than I guess I realized. So he
Yeah, yeah.
grabbed the medicine and took off for his phone and called 911. And I had no idea. And they arrived. I don't remember them showing up. The first paramedic in the door said she looked me right in the face and she was like, oh shit, and turned around and went back out to start grabbing stuff. And they came back in because my husband started screaming at them, that I was on the floor, that I wasn't breathing at all. And she came in and she's like, oh, she's in cardiac arrest. And I don't know where it all went from there. Um, Except that I'm here. I have no brain damage. I have no heart muscle damage. I have no residual issues. My only restriction is that they crushed my rib cage.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. Bruises.
Well, and no broken bones, which is odd. They used something on me called I'm not going to remember what it's called all of a sudden, some kind of machine that's like a suction cup that goes right in the middle of your chest and it does 120 compressions per minute. So once you're already dead and they think there's a shot at getting you back, they stick you in this thing, and it just goes until they decide to stop it because you're back or because you're not. So either way, but it what they told me they think it did was it tore all the cartilage in between all my ribs.
Uh,
And I just recently found out because of a chiropractor, bless his heart, um, that the pain, the major part of the pain I was experiencing was because all my ribs are out of their joints.
Oh.
And a doctor's not going to look for that. A doctor, right? They keep telling me I'm not breathing, take more medication, and they keep piling on and I'm like, no, I'm not taking all this shit. Like, I know the symptoms, I know the side effects, I know I don't want to go back down these roads again because a lot of the medications cause the issue, and it's no different with asthma stuff. So
Do
I
you
don't know.
use the puffers?
I do. I have the two I'm still on is the two I've always been on. One is a steroid, which causes candida and yeast issues body wide. Like I've had massive candida issues my whole life and
Oh.
have just realized the severity and that came from those steroids. I understand that whole concept now. And the other one's just a rescue inhaler, but it works on the adrenal pathway, so it keeps you in fight and flight.
Yeah. Gee whiz.
So I'm like, all right. I'm just like, okay. So I went back to my old practices. I went, I still do heart coherence work all the time, and I have for years. I actually think that's part of what saved me.
Mm.
I think using honey as a mental drip through my body for ever since the first time you mentioned that is part of what saved me.
Oh,
My
wow.
husband obviously calling them is part of what saved me. Um, their efforts, of course. I think that machine pounding the shit out of me pulled me back into my body. I know it's been a weird couple of months. It's been a
Goodness
very
me. You know what my next question is going to be? Did you fall unconscious or did you experience things while you were out there? Or was it
I
just...
experienced things. I think I was unconscious from the point I hit the ground because I don't remember that. Actually, probably from before I stopped breathing. I don't know if I had left my body from fear or if I was still, I just don't remember. I don't remember her walking through the door and looking at me. And she says, we just like our gaze just locked. And she was like, oh no, I don't
Yeah.
remember any of that. But I remember, and I think it was this. So I think I left my body. I'm thinking I was pretty darn conscious because I was standing there and I think I saw myself standing there and I was watching out the front of the house. And this is like one of my questions for you. I'm watching out the front of the house and I could see everything.
Yeah.
But it was the craziest, most interesting thing I think I've ever watched. But what I was watching was this huge black ball of energy coming towards me, and it was alive. It was moving. And came from the south, and I don't know why that's important, but it came from the south, and it went around our house and came back at me from the north, and then just plowed me over. And it seems to me that how all this came together, I have no idea, but that's what actually stopped my heart, is what it feels like. But when I ask what that is, when I go inward and ask, what the heck was that black ball? What I heard was I had called in all of my karma and I was just like ready to deal with it. And so they sent it all back to me at the same time. All the negative energy I've sent out over lifetimes came whistling back and I got to grab hold of it. And I don't know if that's true, if I made that up, if I heard it somewhere else and it's just what's stuck in my mind because of everything that happened. I have no idea, but I feel like a 5-year-old. I feel like I have totally new. I'll talk about this stuff and either start crying or start laughing. I can't control either one.
Doesn't matter. I know, I understand you're doing extraordinarily well. I know what you saw, but keep going.
Okay, well, I'm glad you know what I saw because I'm still unclear.
Well,
Um,
as you know, we used to do this twice a week in the monasteries, and you see this every single time.
really?
Mm. Mm.
So I wasn't making it up. I actually saw that.
You saw death. What happened was you stepped out of your body so that the paramedics could do their work, so that your heart attack could occur, so that your death could occur. But there's a part of you that knew that that wasn't the end. This was a very, very temporary thing. There's a part of you that knew you were coming back. You saw death coming, It took one look at you, went, no, 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 she's not on my list. Does a U-turn, gives you a smack in the back so that you know it was there.
It did.
So you stayed there. You didn't go off into other realms. You stayed on Earth and you were just watching because you were using your higher mind. Well, not using it. You are your higher mind at that point. Your brain and all of its thinking is in the body, getting pumped. You are out here just going, gosh, I wish they'd hurry up. This is nice. What's that black thing over there?
That's pretty much what it
It's kind
seems
of, come
like.
on, hurry up. I want to get back. And that's where you're at.
Oh my
Wonderful.
goodness.
It's a wonderful thing. I know it's scary and everything else, but
It wasn't scary.
because
Jim, it
it's
wasn't
not, it's
scary.
unusual for you. It's.
I mean, now looking back at it, I'm just like questioning what it was. But then I wasn't scared. I was just like, oh, what is that? I don't think I even realized that
There's
my
no
body
fear. The fear is in the
was
brain. The fear is in the brain. All fear, hatred, anger, judgment, that's all in the brain. That's what your monkey does. When the mind itself, the awareness that's watching those thoughts, and the body responds to those thoughts. That's why those thoughts make you ill. But that part of you that can sit back in there and know that you're thinking those things, that's the you that leaves. That's the you that's
mm,
invisible. That's the you that's not made of matter. That's the you that went outside and started having a bit of a gander around while your body was being worked on.
yeah.
Um,
Okay.
it's actually not complicated and it's nothing to be scared of. You probably won't be scared of death now, are you?
I mean, I don't think I am, but I don't think I was before. I um I don't think of it the way we were taught to think of it though.
People
To
that
me,
teach people about death usually haven't died themselves, so it's theory. And this is why people fall unconscious at the moment of death, which is a problem for
yeah.
obvious reasons. But getting back to what I was saying before, when you do leave, because all the things that make us scared, when a human being is scared, the only reason they're scared, the only reason they could be scared is because they think they're about to get killed. They think they're about to get seriously hurt.
Mm,
And this creates fear. It's all in the brain. When you pop out like you did, you don't have any of that. There's no fear in you anymore. You're just the real you, the you that was born, that beautiful, pure mind that is curious.
I
So,
was
oh,
actually
well,
in awe of and I don't know, I mean that happened in the house. I saw death coming. I love that explanation. And I'm guessing the idea of clearing karma or whatever, something must have come with that that solved a lot of things because that the idea of being the child or being the I don't know, that's I feel empty.
beautiful.
Yeah. I
Do you
feel
know
empty.
when the end of thinking, have you heard in spiritual circles, even some religious circles, they will tell you, and you will hear that, how do I say this? There are ways to break the wheel of karma. Buddhism in particular, they have exercises to break the wheel of karma. And that's the whole point. Buddhist teachings is all geared up towards breaking that cycle of karma. So, what do they teach you? Deep meditation. When you're in meditation, you're out of your thought process. Once you've done that, you've broken the cycle of karma.
Mm,
You died, you left that, you broke the cycle of karma. Done and
um,
dusted. It's got nothing to do with how could I put this? It's not anything to do with gaining merit. It's got nothing to do with being forgiven. It's got nothing to do with of meeting a God that's going to go, oh, you deserve this bullshit. It's none of that crap. That's religious fuck up. Excuse
yeah.
me. Whenever religion comes in my head, the first word is fuck.
Well, as I started calling people, and I totally hear what you're saying, as I started calling people, because my husband, like, he called a select few people and said, she's probably not going to survive this. Can you do your work, do your prayers, do your thing, whatever. And I have a lot of energy healers behind me. I have a circle of people around me that are just
Good.
quite fantastic.
Yeah.
And my son did the same thing. He contacted the ones that he knew would probably help the most, and nobody else knew anything. Nobody. But when so they put me in a coma for 3 days, and to let my lungs recuperate, because the lady, I've been over to the firehouse because we live in a tiny city, and it's all volunteers except our fire chief. And I went over there one day to tell him thank you, and they didn't know I was still alive. And he just looked at me. He's like, Hound Street, because that's the street we live on, and that's how he knew it was Hound Street. And he's like, oh my God, you're still alive. And I was like, yeah,
You should have gone, no, I'm not. Woo!
totally, I totally should have. But the lady who was the paramedic that was putting the hose down into my lungs was like, it was like they were pancaked and glued together. And so they were, there's just no reason I should be here, according to what they were.
Was there an infection in there?
They didn't find one,
No.
except for the underlying infection of candida, which is caused by their steroids.
Mm-hmm.
The cycle. I mean, that's what I'm just like, what did I do? I called something in. I allowed something to happen. One of the doctors keeps telling me it's allergies, but I'm like, there's no symptoms. He wanted to put me on this crazy weekly shot that I'm like, no way I'm doing that. Zero chance that I am going to let you inject me with that. But it's for allergies, and it's some technology, blah, blah, blah. And he's basing it on the blood work that they took when I first entered the hospital, and all my organs were failing. So kidney failure, liver failure, all this stuff was. And I'm like, how can you base what you want to do right now on that blood work? That doesn't make sense to me.
No.
But
They don't want to appear wrong.
Well, he said what it did was it entered me into the system on a good note, because my blood work then was perfect to get that. And I'm like, I heard what you just said, and I'm out of here. I will not participate in this. So they don't know. They can't give me an answer, and I don't have an answer. And I don't know if I called something in or if I.
No. It doesn't. Life doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work like that.
As you've experienced right now and learn from this experience, when you do leave your body, you don't have malice, you don't have hatred, you don't have anything of that nature. And whenever there's entities or spirits out there, they can't come at you with hatred or malice. They don't have it in them.
They don't have it. You know what happened?
Only living people can be evil.
Oh, wow.
Take that on board.
Yeah, that's one
It's
to
not the
think
dead
about.
you should be frightened of, it's the living. They'll do more fucking damage.
Well, maybe that's where it came from.
No. I know what it is.
Well, let me tell you this part, and then you can tell me what the heck just happened, because nobody else seems to know.
Okay.
In that period of time that I was in the coma, I found this place, or ended up in this place. I don't know how to describe it either. That was just, I call it darkness. I was in this darkness where I could again see everything, but it didn't seem like it was like light, like this is light. But it wasn't dark like evil, which I seem to have to explain to everybody, because every time I say it, they're like, oh no. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. Like, it was just devoid of light. The place, it was totally calm, totally peaceful. There was beings there that I knew.
Yeah.
There was beings there that like were family kind of beings, but then there was beings that were familiar, but I couldn't put my finger on them, but I knew them. And then there was
what that is as well.
Oh, wow.
This is why we die in the monasteries. Because when we meet people like you, we've got answers for you from experience, not from frickin' books. This is why we do it. So back to you.
Oh, wow. Well, I was going to say, so the third layer of entities that were there were ones that I had no idea who were. I had seemingly no connection to them.
The relatives that are so far back, the connection's a bit thin. but they're
Well,
still.
they seemed like they were, I don't know, the energy and the power coming from them was just incredible. They were, I don't know. You know more about this than I do. You've done it way more times.
At that point, you were one of those things. At that point,
I
so,
did recognize myself like that. My brother, actually, whom I talk to all the time still, he passed in 2018. He was laughing seemingly at me, and he was like, "Oh, now you're in my turf. Like, what's going on?" And I was like, and that's when I became aware that I wasn't. I was
yeah.
like, "Oh, like, where am I?" And then I started looking and watching. But everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people kept asking me, "Did you hear God? Did you see God?"
Oh.
And my first response was no, but I didn't go looking for him. Like, I didn't. I, I was too busy being aware of what was around me. And, the light and the tunnel idea, I
Mm,
didn't see any of that. I didn't get the life review that everybody talks about. I didn't see, or I didn't get a voice asking me, do you want to stay or go? There was no choice, there was no option. Except that while I was out, I could look around and I could participate and I could watch. The watching was amazing. I could see this. It was almost like a web of people and entities that had just surrounded me and were just holding everything up. They were supporting my family and everything that was going on here and everything that was going on.
mm.
The police chief that I talked about, when I told him, or when I walked up and he realized who I was, he started crying and he goes, "I have prayed for you every day, even when we figured you were dead." He goes, I was like, "I know, I saw you. Like, I didn't know who you were." So one of the people in the circle that I was like, "I don't know who you are, but thank you for being here." It was him. And then all of his staff and the team that was here in the house, there was, I want to say 9 people showed up. And then they had to get intercepted by another ambulance on the way out of town. I don't even know what happened. I just read about that in the newspaper. I was like, what? So another ambulance got involved for some reason. I don't even know why. But I could see all of that. And it was so incredible. It was the most amazing thing I've ever witnessed. I was just like, wow. And the
So jealous.
interconnectedness. Yeah, it was incredible. Okay, so
Do you
what was
remember
all
that?
that?
Do you remember the astral journey or the past life you went on?
Yes, very clearly.
Some of the people from there are some of the people that you were feeling.
Oh,
They're all there. They're
um,
all there.
that made so much sense just now. Because that's why I could feel them, but I couldn't place them.
Mm, mm. And there would have been others because that was only one past life. You've had many,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, beautiful. Well done. No, really, well done. I'm glad you're back, though. I would have missed you hugely. I love your company. I love talking to you. I
Oh,
love you
likewise.
very much. I don't know why, but I do. I just doesn't matter why. I just do.
Maybe we were in a past life together.
Oh, I can tell you, 1066. You and I. I know when we met.
Get out of here.
No, I have memories like it was this morning. Mm.
Oh my goodness. 1066.
1066. I was following my master in the Crusades. My master was a knight, and he was on horseback. He was a Templar. I was holding the shields and the swords. I was just the idiot that had to run behind the horse and help my master get off the horse. He was a knight covered in armor, weighed 4 ton, and I was one of these. So I was his apprentice, basically. And we were on our way to Jerusalem because very quickly the Romans had come through Europe. They destroyed everyone's religions, destroyed everyone's traditions, destroyed everything and replaced it with Roman days and Roman gods and Roman this and that. And then 500 years later, when we were so many generations away from before the Romans got there, and everyone had forgotten our spirituality and our connection to nature and everything else, and then the Romans pissed off and left everyone in the dark ages. So what we all had to do, someone heard of this thing called Jerusalem and that you can get God back. So we were all brought in. This is the whole King Arthur story, I guess. They called all the knights all over the world. All of the different countries got their knights together and sent them to Jerusalem to look for this Holy Grail thing. No one knew what it was. Everyone was desperate. No one had any spirituality. It had been destroyed by the Romans. The gentleman I was talking to just before you is actually a Roman. But anyway, oddly enough, so we were sent off to find this, bring the spirituality back, and you was in that, and that's where we met along the
Wow.
way. You and I met along the way. So you were, whoever you were back then, you had been charged with, what's the word? Charged with the job of going there and helping to find spirituality and religion, if that's what has to be necessary. And look at where
Oh,
you've
wow.
ended up now. You're in bloody Utah.
I think that one out. Crazy.
There's a
They
few
say
things
this.
I wanted to explain, but I forgot what they were now. Do you remember?
Say it one more time.
There was something I wanted to explain while you were talking to me just before, and I've forgotten what it was. You asked me, you said you were wondering if I knew what might be. Oh, anyway,
The beings and the extra beings.
yes. Now, the family stuff that you could feel that you knew, this is how it works. Imagine that all of your family, all the way back, centuries and centuries, all of your family, let's say that all of those people, I'm going to use the ice cube thing. Each one of those people, let's say you can represent everyone in your family with an ice cube. Let's get rid of all the hundreds of thousands of people that are belonging to your family. Let's say there's a dozen people in your family, and let's say 1 liter of water, 1 pint in your language, you take this 1 liter of water and you pour it into a tray for ice cubes. You put that in and you freeze it. So now you've got 12 separate ice cubes, but they all come from the same liter of water. As ice cubes, you can look at each other, you can play with each other, you can run away from each other, you can all do sorts of things, but occasionally one ice cube's going to melt, died, gone back to the liter of water. Another ice cube melts and dies, another one melts over time, and you're the last ice cube. Eventually, you're going to die and melt. You're going to go back into that same liter of water that all the others have. They're not ice cubes anymore, but when you go in there, it's all going to mix. They're all going to move through you and around you, and you are going to recognize the field. You're going to recognize the feel. It's going
Yeah.
to feel like Uncle Bob. It's going to feel like Auntie Jack. You recognize the feeling. You are in the same liter of water that all of your family has come from, and you just feel it. You feel like you're at home. You know that these things are part of you and your family, but you can't see them. But it doesn't matter. The love is there. The connection is there. And eventually that liter of water will be poured into another tray. And voila, you got another family. Some of them might be absolute fucking assholes. But when you get back to the liter of water, that's all gone. You'll feel, oh, there's an asshole in here, but I love him.
We have some of those.
Something else I need to point out, I just remembered now. When you went in there, it was a temporary visitation. And when it's a temporary visitation, you won't get presented with your options because it would be pointless. It's only
Oh,
when your death is on a permanent basis you will be presented with your options. There's no point in going towards a light if you're going to go home, if you're going to go back. So it won't be presented. And that's that simple. So it's a good indicator. If you go there again and it happens again and you don't get presented, you know that, I'm going to get pulled back soon. So just
right.
enjoy it, go with it, go with the flow.
No, I thought I understood, Jan, that if you went back into the light, you just end up back here again. If you don't go into the light, if that turns out to be a presentation, if I don't go to it, I can go and I don't have to do this again. Yes,
No,
no?
you'll get three options. Usually there's three options. There'll be the light, which is your new mother's vagina, basically. If you go that way, you know this one, you'll see a nurse and she'll pull you out and plop you on your mother's belly, but you remember the whole thing. You can't say anything because you're not interfaced with the new body yet. Still
Right.
takes you time to interface and get used to the fact that this is your arm and all of that kind of thing. Um, that's the light. That's all that is. It'll seem to you like about 15 minutes, but it's not. It's more like 40 weeks, which is a term, a full term. That's what it will be. But because you don't have a brain and you're not thinking, there's no time. Time is thought. Thought creates time. Outside of thought, there's no such thing. What will happen is if your brain goes, that's a tree, that's a house, now you've just created a situation where it takes time to get from the tree to the house. If you don't see that as a tree and that a house, you just see a tapestry. It's all there at the same moment, and time is irrelevant. That's what happens when you step out. This is all experiential. It's not belief or anything of that nature. You've experienced it yourself. So one of the options will be that light. That's the one that will bring you back here.
Right.
The other two options, you can remain hovering as a ghost. You can just say, no, no, I'll just hang here. Not a problem at all. Why not? Not a problem. By doing that, you are proving to hundreds of thousands of people over the years that life after death occurs. The death of the body isn't the end of anything. Just you being there proves that.
Right.
Not everyone will be able to see you. You right now living, you have a certain frequency. On an electroencephalograph, you will have a certain frequency. Um, Not everyone thinks in the same frequency. You might be thinking at 20 kilohertz. Someone else might be thinking at 21 kilohertz. So you're not, when it's like that, you have no way of reading each other's minds. You won't even make contact with each. You might not even like each other purely because of the different frequency. However, the 150 million people that do think on the same frequency as you will see you as a ghost. To those, you are proving to them there is something other, and you are taking a little bit of fear of death away from them. And that's a beautiful thing to be doing. That's your second option. Your third option, it's the Irish in me, your third option
That's awesome.
is you can go into the astral realm, also known as the Akashic realm. And when you go into there, you can influence people's minds. By that I mean this. Einstein might be sitting on the toilet having a poo. Exactly. He in his head he's going, E equals MC. I can't quite get it. E equals, and then you'll go, oh, I can't stand it, and you'll float through his mind and drop off the MC squared for him in here. He won't know.
Um,
He won't know that you've done that. He will go, oh my God, I've got it. E equals MC squared, and then he'll run off and change the world. And you had an enormous part to play in that. You can hover there. That's your third option. It is always has everything to do with helping humanity because it's all based on love. The entire universe is riddled in the stuff. It's nutrition. And that's what happens. And
amazing.
unfortunately, because of religion and what we've been trained and taught to believe, we fill it with fear. We bar the entrance with fear. With religious people, you don't want to fear going to hell because you know you've sinned. Oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It makes
I
me angry.
mean,
It makes me angry.
the whole thing is such a lie. I mean, I've done enough studies on that to understand what they did and how they made us believe that and how they're trying to enslave. I
Absolutely.
mean, even now, it's still the same storyline. So, um,
I have so many gay people get in touch with me, hundreds of them, because I've had two gay people recently say to me, what did I do wrong to deserve being gay? And I went, where the fuck did you get that from? It's
Wow.
disgusting. I said, I love you to death and I don't even know you. That's disgusting. And he said, oh, no, that's religion.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had to point out this is why being gay is illegal in most places. Not too many centuries ago, globalization was based on two religions, obviously the belief in Jesus religions, Catholics, all the rest of those, the Jesus religion, and Muslims. Muslims got as far as Spain. They took over most of the world. And then the Catholic religion came in, and there was this Catholic religious war with Muslims being going for years and years. After a certain point, the main order of the day, the new weapon they came up with was have as many children as you can, and we will outbreed the Muslims.
Oh, good Lord.
Muslims at the other side of the world, they're going, we need to have as many children as possible, and we can outbreed the Catholics. You see, and they've got the same idea. Now, if you're gay, you're not going to go out there having 12 kids because you're gay. You're not going to have any children. That makes you illegal in the eyes of the thing because you should be having as many children as you can. That's the word of God. So
Yeah.
if you're gay, you're not going to have any children. And they'll burn you for that. You should be having children. And that's what's made it illegal today. And that's why the poor bastards have to go what they're going through right now. And once I've explained that to them, they crack up crying and laughing, and it
Oh,
saves them. Just
yeah.
wonderful that religion has done.
Oh, it's horrifying. My granddad was a preacher, and we got beat over the head with that book,
Mm.
and it still didn't make any
It's
sense.
insane.
Again,
It's
yeah. I
insane.
yeah. Can I tell you another thing that I saw? I think I saw. Um, and I've seen it before, which is why I was like being thrown back in my face. Like, why don't you use this technology or use this thing? And literally was a rainbow kind of idea. And so you can see the chakra charts that they present, and it's got the red, the orange, the yellow, the stark colors. And the way I saw it before, I was driving down the street towards Park City, and there's this rainbow, and it was every hue of red that you could see through our eyes. But then there was hues of red that I knew I wasn't seeing through my eyes. It was just like the seen and the unseen kind of eye. There was hues of red that were just outer worldly. It was crazy looking. And then it went through all the colors. I literally had to pull over on the side of the road because I was just like, whoa, what the heck?
Mm.
And then during this, what they call a near death experience, which I take, um, I don't think that it's not a near death experience. It was a dead and now I'm back alive
It
experience.
wasn't near death. It was a dead experience. You did it. It
But
wasn't
that's what
near.
they call it, right? They call them NDEs. And I'm like, that's not a near death. That was a dead and now you
A
get to go
severe
again.
heart fluctuation is a near death experience.
Yeah,
A
no, this was
cart almost hitting you is a near death
it's a near
experience.
death experience. Yeah, that's I was just like, wait a minute, you guys got your words wrong. But during this experience that came back up, and like everything at some point was flooded with this color of and every hue of red working with
Your spirit hadn't realigned correctly yet. You still, there's a part of the spirit was kind of, if you can imagine, just hanging half out here. One eye of the higher mind can actually see the colors that it can see. These eyes can only see 7 colors, and there's
right,
millions out there.
right. And that's I think what was showing up, but every color had a tone to it. Every color was a frequency that had an actual
Yeah.
tone to it. And when I realized the tones and I started listening for it, I started hearing it. What I understood it to be was like the overtone. All the sounds together are um, an overtone of creation. What is the only way I can describe it. It's I don't know. I think it's part of the reason why I healed faster than they were like, oh, this could take up to 6 months or up to, and the fact that my brain, and I mean, nothing was injured. Every organ is fine. Everything is fine. But I was so enamored in that rainbow And the idea that it's a technology that's available. I was like, wait a
It
minute,
is, it
what?
absolutely is. It absolutely is. It's going to become more apparent to the world this year. You
Yeah,
can't imagine what's going to happen this year. It's the end, the death of an era happened
yeah,
in
huge.
2012, which is
We're
the name.
clapping for it over here, waiting for it to all drop. Let's go.
It's happening, don't you worry. I can tell you right now, and I've gotten this from scientists, this year they are going to release to the world that there are 5 Earth-like planets in our solar system on the outside of Pluto.
Oh,
They've
wow.
always been there. They haven't just arrived. They've always been there, but we don't get told about them for all the obvious reasons. And these are where these UFOs and things are coming from. This is where some entities on this earth come and go. But unless you've got a multi-million dollar telescope, you're never going to see those planets. We're not
Right.
even told they're there, but that's going to be released. I can guarantee you that's going to happen this year. Then they're going to say, oh, by the way, there's life there. This is going to happen. Also, during that time this year, because of the death of the old era, and this is a new era, and this is why they're about to approach, all of the people who are caught and grasp onto tradition aren't going to make it.
Mm,
People who grasp to old religions aren't going to make it. People who can't let go, people who are hoarders, people who don't have the ability to adapt, people who won't open their mind to new things, they're not going to make it. This is going to be the death throes, and it's happening now across the planet. The death throes of the old era, the old ways, they don't work.
right.
Thousands of years ago, we kill, murder, rape, pillage, hate, bad, bad, bad. Religion came along, supposed to stop all of that. Let's have a go with religion. Let's see if we can stop it through fear. It got worse in the name of God now, because those same dickheads that were doing the raping and pillaging are the ones that created religion. So it had to go wrong. So
Yeah.
they've had 2,000 years. That didn't work. 2,000 years later, we're still killing, pillaging, raping, and murdering. Let's try government. Government's ushered in centuries ago now. Here we are today, still murdering, pillaging, killing, raping in the name of our government. This time, now in this era, we're going to start voting for spiritual people, not fucking ex-generals of the Navy or whatever. We're going to start, think about it. Okay, religion didn't work. That just made the world more evil. Government didn't work. That made the world more evil. Do spiritual people kill and rape and murder and steal from each other? Not that I know of. Let's vote for one of those. That's what's coming in the new era, and everyone's going to be very fine with that. Spiritual people, not religious people, people
Right.
who come from wisdom. Getting back to the old days when the elders used to be our education. That's what's going to happen. So,
I'm
no,
looking forward.
we're not going to think the same. There'll be no money. That won't be happening. It'll be a whole different system. There'll be no killing and raping of the planet anymore. It's going to be a very good era, but it's not going to happen next Saturday. But it's going to happen. I can guarantee you that. I know it for a fact. That's my
I know
prediction.
a lot of what you're saying because I've seen evidence of it being ushered in.
Good.
Yeah, and I've heard tales of some of the things that you're talking about. We know the money's about to crash. That's about to go down the chute hardcore. But, the lack of fear and knowing that no matter what happens, it's going to be fine. I just learned that you can
Absolutely.
build.
Don't worry about it. You've been trained to rely on something that doesn't exist.
Oh,
Money is a virtual thing.
yeah.
Okay, let's consider we want to build a $50 million spacecraft to send a bunch of people to the moon to get some energy or something from there that we can make our lives better down here. $50 million to make this happen. Why does it cost $50 million? Why can't people just go and dig up the metal that's necessary? We'll feed them while they're doing it. let's say hypothetically, Australia has been, because Australia is separate from everywhere else, Australia grows the food for the world. It's big enough. Okay, you guys do that. We're not going to pay you. But what we are going to do is, you need bricks, no worries. Britain can send you those. That won't cost
Right.
you anything because you're feeding them. You need this or that, not a worry. China can provide that. That's what they do. Oh, you need electronics? Japan, that's their job. That's what they do. Why is it going to cost $50 million? It's not necessary. The people digging the shit up and making the spacecraft, if you're feeding them, if you've provided them with a home, if they've got a car, if they can go to the pictures for nothing, why do you need money? It's ridiculous. It's not
The whole
necessary.
the whole system is ridiculous.
And that's where it's
Isn't
going.
isn't that the way of the Essenes?
Yes.
The way back, I am so drawn to that kind of teaching, and I have been for a while. But even since December 2nd, I'm just, and it's like I just know it: air, water, and sunshine, baby.
Yeah.
And they poison the water, they poison the air, and they're blocking out the sun as much as they can. We were watching the planes over here yesterday going over, and oh, I was just like, seriously, like
It's
one day the
insane.
it's nuts. But what I found out is internally you can create that vibration or that force within you.
Yes.
So I just sit and close my eyes and draw the sunshine in, and then it's not even draw it in, it's there. I just expand it and let it do its work, let the energy do its job.
You have
The,
faith in life.
yeah, that I've never had before. I tell my husband that all the time. I'm like so glad to be here. I've never been this glad to be on the planet before.
Oh, you've given me goosebumps. I love you.
Ah, likewise. I love
Well
you
done,
also.
my friend. Well done. You are doing so well. I think your death was purposeful. I think that was just you were having perhaps doubts or unsureties about all of this, and something's gone, well, look, here you go. Poof, there you go. Jump in, have a look, and then
Take a
come
look.
back.
When I keep practicing the idea, because we've talked about this a few times, the idea of staying conscious when you go to sleep, right? The practice of go to sleep, let your body drift off, but don't let your consciousness. And I've struggled so hard to do that. Um, and then I'll wake up, but my body's asleep, but I'm standing there staring at myself, kind of thing, going, I don't even know how I do it. I don't know what happens. I don't know. I don't know. I was sitting in a bit of a meditation this morning. Um, I was just kind of sitting there. I was standing and I was sitting. I was laying down. I can't lay down flat yet because it hurts too much.
Yeah, I can
So I
imagine.
sit at an angle, and then I recognized I was standing up, and I helped my body stand up. And we were just face to face, and it was like I was staring through a screen or something. It was just like this luminescent. I was just like, what on earth? I've never seen that before. I was like, what the heck did I just do now? Like, what is this?
Life, life must absolutely love you right now, because you are right now, your life is on complete alignment with life itself.
Oh, wow.
You're
What do you
watching.
do with it? Like, what do I?
What do you want to do anything with it for? Why don't you just enjoy it? The only things
Oh,
you have to
that's
do is eat, sleep, have a shit, have a wee. These are the things you have to do. You don't need to do anything with what you discover. Just be
oh,
fascinated and enjoy your fascination, enjoy your curiosity, enjoy your bravery to look into it further. You're on the
it
same
just
page
makes
with life. Pardon?
it makes it feel even more joyful when you say it that way. Because everybody else is like, you got to write the book, you got to do the thing, you got to teach this, you got to talk about it.
Punch him in the face.
Oh, thank you. I don't want to. I keep telling them I don't want to write this down. I don't want to. I'm like, I'm talking to you about it because I'm talking to you, but I don't want
Yeah.
to. I
You're
don't want to.
sharing something that you love, that you're sharing an experience with me, and I class you as a very good friend because I love
Oh,
you, and you're sharing with your friend, and I absolutely appreciate it. No, you're doing so well. You're going to have
well,
a
I appreciate
fantastic
your
life.
wisdom. I appreciate your wisdom in it because I'm like, whoa.
Could I ask you a question, a personal question?
Yes,
When you
sir.
first came on today, why were you crying?
Because I saw you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll, I'll,
No,
I'll try and look
no,
prettier.
it was good. Put some ribbons and some bows in your beard. Maybe.
Yeah, pink bubbles. Yeah.
No, it was well, yesterday, you know what happened yesterday. I was supposed to be on and the computer just wasn't working right for whatever reason. And I was like, oh man, I missed my chance. And then I was on. Well, I got in that room at some point, but you couldn't see me or hear me, but I could hear you talking to Elle. And I was just like, oh, okay. So you said, make this new appointment. I'm waiting for her email. I'm just like, and I was so excited getting. I mean, just to be in front of you is just such a wonderful.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you. I love you
yeah,
too.
absolutely. Thank you.
So this is the magic that you have. I was meant to do an interview yesterday. No, sorry. When was I meant to do an interview? I was meant to do an interview now, today. And halfway through you not being able to get in touch with me correctly, the lady had to cancel the interview. There's just no way she could get into her office that day to be able to do it. So she cancelled it. So I said to Elf, Christy, straight in, see if she wants to do it. That was you. You did that. Well done. Hopefully she didn't get hit by a bus, but but
Oh
no,
my
she
goodness.
didn't. And
Isn't
so,
that's my understanding now. I told somebody this the other day. If you would just step aside and let the energy do its job,
yes, don't
and
interfere. That's the monkey in
let
us. It just
go.
wants to interfere. Yeah.
Let go of it. Quit using your words. She's got all these big flowery words. I'm like, I don't even know what you're saying anymore. You're
Oh,
talking so much. Drop all the words off and just be with whatever it is that you're trying to do and let it do its thing. I don't know.
considering how rotten you may feel from what's happened to you, I swear you've lost 10 years off your face.
Oh my gosh. I was doing, somebody called me the other day. I've got all these people texting me and calling me wanting to do interviews for NDEs, right, for their channels. And I think I've done one that I was like, okay, let's just see what this is all about. And then somebody called me wanting to do an interview for a friendship broadcaster. She's making a documentary or something about friends, and she didn't know what had happened to me. But I agreed to do it because I know the lady and she's just a real sweetheart. And I'm sitting there, we're on a thing like this, and she goes, I'm just going to put you full screen. So I'm off the screen. So she has, she can take different shots to insert into her documentary. And I looked at my face and I was like, oh my God, like, let me scoot this way back. My eye was all swollen and like weird. I was like, what is the
Yeah, it was really good.
I swear my face was halfway hanging off. I was like, oh, no, don't do that.
Oh, well, you look
But
a lot
thank you
better
for that.
now.
I
Wow.
don't know what had happened. It was crazy looking, but I honestly feel pretty good. Every once in a while, I get nervous about the lungs and the fact I can't tell the difference between the rib pain, which is getting less. I'm taking a breathing course that showed up in my email and I just clicked on it. It was a free breathing course, and I'm learning how to breathe properly now, which I find crazy and interesting at almost 60 years old. I'm like, all right, let's learn how to breathe. That's made a world of difference. The pain, that doctor, that chiropractor touching my back and going, oh my God, let's put some of your ribs back.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I
Did
mean,
that
things just
did
seem
that
to,
relieve the pain?
almost, I would say over 50% of it.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Good.
That
Good.
that blew me away because they kept saying cartilage pain is probably some of the next to bone pain is some of the worst pain you can
Yes,
have.
it is.
And when he put those bones back in their joints, I was just like, "Are you serious?" Even the feeling that I was still having an asthma attack left. I was like, "All right, how much of this for my whole life has been? How much
Yeah.
of it's actually been lung issues? I don't know. I don't know.
Wow. Well, it doesn't matter now. Gosh.
No,
That's the other
no.
thing. Did you want me to tell you what happened, or would you
Yes.
prefer not to know?
No, I want to know. I do want to
Okay,
know.
I'll give you the very, very upside first. The very, very upside is what happened is rare. This is why no one can tell you what it is. The reality and the truth of what happened is rarely, on a rare occasion, sometimes you will have an electrical glitch and everything just stops. That's
Mm,
all that happened. It's like,
no.
let's say you got your washing machine going and it's doing the washing, and for some reason, maybe an ant got into the wiring, or the dog's been walking over the cable too many times and it's come loose, and suddenly the power plug in the power point is just loose enough so one of the things aren't quite making a connection, and now
Right.
boom, your washing machine goes off. It's not dead, it's just not going, and no one can see why. Oh, easy, there's just a little tiny glitch over there. Push it back in and everything's good to go, and it'll never ever happen again now, because you know not to do that. You know to hide the power point so people can't walk over and trip over the cable. Easy, easy. Occasionally, you will get a glitch. Occasionally, you'll get a little electrical, not a short out, just an electrical glitch. That's all I can say. And if that electrical glitch happens to be around the vagus nerve, or the vagus nerve isn't one nerve, it goes down behind your heart. And this is how I know this is what happened to you. This one nerve goes down past your gullet, and then it branches off behind your heart. That's responsible for your heart pumping. It branches off again onto your lungs, this one nerve.
Mm,
When you hit someone in martial arts, it tell because when you hit someone there, your heart stops and your lungs stop for that reason. And that's what's
wow.
happened to you. The upside is it's rare. It probably wouldn't happen in another 50 lifetimes.
Oh my.
But for
So
you,
it doesn't
I think
something.
there was a reason for you. I think you needed to do that. You needed, even if it was just to get some of the answers you've gotten today. If you hadn't gone through that, you wouldn't be getting these answers, and your understanding of life wouldn't have deepened to the point it has today. So you've learned a lot. You've seen a lot. You've met death. Shake its hand next time. Say hi from me. We know each other. We know each other well.
Let me ask you a
I've sent a
different.
lot of clients to death, so he owes me.
Oh, how funny.
I'm joking.
Well, and it's cool to know that death is not the Grim Reaper picture that we've been shown kind of
That
idea.
was drawn up by people who are fearful of death. Most of our education is put together by fearful people.
Yeah, yeah.
Religion
People
came
are
out of
trying to lead
fear.
us astray. Yeah.
You got to have the
Um,
balls. If you don't have balls in this new era, you're not going to make it. You've got balls as big as basketballs, Christy, so you got no problems, none at all.
I have no problems. Yeah, I can't even explain it. Everything I used to gripe about, I have no gripes.
Yeah.
I
Doesn't that
have
feel
no,
good? You are free from that.
I'm just saying, no issues, no, I don't know. My big brother in this lifetime called me 2 mornings ago because he saw the interview on YouTube that I did with that gentleman. I think his name was Jeff something.
Could you send me a link for that?
Yeah, I sure can.
That would be great. Thank you.
I absolutely can. But Bill called me and he goes, I could only listen to the first 17 minutes of it. And I'm like, 17 minutes? Like, why'd you pick 17? He goes, that's when I had to turn it off because I couldn't handle it. He goes, but I want to hear, like, like, tell me that again. What all did you go through? And the whole conversation went on and just us going back and forth. We haven't talked in, I want to say, years, like really talked. There's been like family discussions, things that had to have conversation around it, but we quit talking for lots of reasons. But the end of the conversation was just him going, you have to know I love you. Like, he goes, this whole thing has sucked. I don't know what the hell happened to all of us, but, and he just started bawling. And then I was a mess. And I was like, maybe that's what this was for, just to recognize. And I see people. That was the other thing I wanted to tell you is I see people so differently. You know, the judgments that we're taught to have,
Mm,
but all of that stuff has just fallen away. And I was shown how judgment causes the need to forgive.
yeah,
That if you forgive yourself of your judgment, if you don't have a judgment, there's nothing to forgive. There's
absolutely. Thank you.
nothing to worry about, right? Um, I don't know. When I first started talking to people, I think that's part of the reason I started crying when you got on. Is I heard your voice more than saw you. People's voices to me just sound like music.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, like just keep talking. I just want to hear your voice. I was calling people literally, and just leaving messages because nobody was answering their phones anymore. But I would leave a message that I just want to hear your voice.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah,
Take a moment. Feel it. It's lovely. The-
it's amazing. I can't describe it.
It's like chocolate.
It's better than chocolate.
I
It is, and I
stand
love chocolate.
corrected.
I love chocolate. I was a pastry chef for years, so I know good chocolate. I love chocolate. Yeah, it's better than chocolate. Yeah.
Wow, wonderful. There was something else I wanted to talk to you about, and it's completely left me. Never mind. It's
Well,
okay.
I wanted to ask you, what would you do different next time? And you said this won't happen for another 50 lifetimes potentially, but what would, like, what can I be practicing? I know I need to practice my focus more because my focus is like all over the place right now, but what would you do differently, or what did you do differently to learn how to stay conscious in these spaces?
Oh, I just kept practicing. You have to remember, I started at like 9. I was ordained in Tibet by 14. I
Oh my
didn't
goodness.
have a normal life. Um,
I
that doesn't
really didn't know what this is.
it doesn't mean that I'm different to everyone else. Everyone is. I'm made of the same shit everyone else is. Life made me, life made you, and it gave us all the same coats of paint and the same internals and everything else. And it's just that I was lucky enough that my abuse sent me into a world that turns me into this. I'm not who I am, whatever that is. I am not who I am because of what I've read. I'm not who I am because of what I've learned. I'm not who I am because of what people have tried to teach me. I am who I am because of what I eat, how I exercise, how I look at the world, um,
Yeah.
and my own exploration. It's no one's made me. I just grew up like a plant, and yeah, I don't know how to explain it. So
Amazing. Now
just
you just
that
did
anyone
really.
can do it. Anyone can do it. It's just you got to do it a lot. That's all. And I'm not talking years. I'm talking months, but good hard work for those months.
Yeah.
Deep meditation, correct meditation. If you do it every day, you get better and better and better. Real meditation isn't a practice. Real meditation is the end result. When you can immediately step out of your thoughts and go into a trance, at that moment, you've reached meditation and you just hold it. And then your life becomes your meditation. You'll be like that all the time in that state of mind. That's
Wow.
one exercise. Another one is lay yourself down on your couch or your bed, totally wipe yourself out, toes, feet, legs, you know the process. Make sure that your body is just down to about 7 or 8 beats a minute. And then imagine you know how imagination is telling your brain what you want it to do for you. So
Yes.
by imagining yourself raising out of your body and just walk through your home, go into your kitchen Turn around, look at your body laying there. Even if it's imagination at first is irrelevant, you're still doing it, and you're still telling your brain, and you're showing your brain exactly what you want to do. So imagine yourself coming out of your body, move over a little, stand up, turn around, see yourself laying there, move into your kitchen. Look at the curtains, look at the tiles or carpet or whatever you've got on the floor. Look at every detail. Look at the cupboards, the handles on the drawers, the refrigerator. Look at everything. Spend 5 minutes totally taking in this kitchen. Then go into another room and start doing that. And there'll be a moment where you'll kind of go, oh, this feels different. And you'll realize that it's not imagination now. Your brain's gone, oh, and it's let you go. And you've gone, and it's now happening. At that moment, you're the same creature that went out there and saw death coming up the street.
I actually have been doing some, I haven't practiced it enough clearly, but we've had that conversation before.
It's
And
all
I
you have to do. It's all you have to do, Christy.
when I was lying in the hospital, I told you, in a coma for 3 days, and then I was in the, I want to say in the psych ward for 3 days, but it was the cardiac ward. And I was laying there. They had just taken me off all the medication, the fentanyl, and didn't realize how bad my rib cage was. And the pain was so excruciating. But I went into that and just started systematically going from my feet all the way up and just relaxing everything as best as I could. And I was always curious if you ever noticed, but I think probably 3 or 4 occasions I found myself standing next to you.
Oh, you and I have been next to each other a few times. I have come.
We've had,
Yeah,
conversations.
yeah.
Yeah. And I wish I could remember the conversations, but I just remember standing there going, oh, this is much nicer than the hospital food.
That's bizarre. Oh,
Oh, yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, I've been working on all of these things, but I think a lot of this is why I don't know why. I think a lot of it's why I lived through it. Everybody that looks at my chart or pulls up my information is like, you just shouldn't be here. There is no reason why you would do
how
that.
old are you now?
According to the article, somebody just wrote 54, but my son tells me I'm 59, so I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'm going with 54.
let's say you're in your 50s, mid 50s. All right. In 55 years, life has dealt some pretty horrible shit to you, hasn't it?
Yeah,
You've
I
had
would
some
say
pretty
that.
nasty hard times. Did your religion pull you through it? No, it fucking didn't.
Oh gosh,
Did
no.
your government pull you through that? No, it fucking didn't. You did
Mm-hmm.
it. For 55 years, you have dealt with every moment and the shit that life has presented to you in that moment. Every single one, you pulled through it yourself. That's why you didn't die.
Wow.
You are
Thank you for
self-reliant
that
woman.
confirmation. What was that?
You are a self-reliant woman.
Mm. Wow.
Nice.
Thank you.
I think you and I should do some breathing exercises in the future. Fortunately or unfortunately, I have someone waiting now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
don't be
wasn't even.
sorry. Stop saying you're sorry. Tell the world, fuck you. Do that to the world. Stop saying sorry to it. It should say sorry to you. So,
I'm going to demand that apology. Well, that would hurt.
yeah.
Oh my
It
gosh.
hurts when I laugh. There you go. Now you know exactly what that means, don't you?
It does. Oh my gosh. And oh my gosh, if I laugh too hard and I inhale, it feels like everything's just getting sucked in. I'm
Oh,
like,
go and have a
but
hot
it's
bath.
good.
Put some
It
Radox.
reminds me,
Put some Radox in a bath. Go and settle yourself. Have a sauna if you can get one.
it
Look,
reminds me I'm still alive.
listen, my dear friend. If the breathing exercises is doing you well, fantastic. If you want to take your breathing exercises a little bit further, so it's not only helping your body but your spirituality, please let me know. The next time you and I speak, let me take you through a handful of exercises. Let's make it an intense session.
Okay.
And I will give you the things that I would normally give to someone in a monastic situation. You're ready for it. You can do it.
That would be awesome. I'll take you up on that one.
Yeah, let's do that
Yes.
next time. Just when we get on here, don't let us prattle on. Although I love talking to you and I love you talking to me.
It's like talking to an old friend. I don't have a lot of friends anymore, and being on here with you is just like, oh, it literally feels like I'm back home. That's what
Yeah,
it feels like.
it feels like my sister's right there under my arm as well when I speak to you.
Ah,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
One
Okay.
day, one day I'm taking you to lunch and we're just going to spend the afternoon chuckling away and disturbing everyone around us.
I'll take you up on that too. That would be awesome.
I'm looking forward to that one. That is going to happen. That's in my bucket list. Absolutely.
Oh, oh, that would be amazing. That would
Mm,
be amazing.
it's going to happen. Okay, my friend. Unfortunately, I could speak to you forever, but I do need to go.
Okay. All right. I love you. Bless you.
I
Thank
love
you.
you so much. Bless you as well. And please, please take care of yourself.
I'm trying to.
Try not to die this week. That would be nice.
Stay above ground. It'll be fine. It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
You
We'll talk
won't
soon.
smell. Okay. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.